Hey, I want to thank you for watching my video today. Today I want to continue the series we started last week called A Better Way. Last week I shared with you, those of you who are burnt out and stressed, that there is a better way. You don't have to live in the hurried life you find yourself in. You don't have to wonder where God is. You don't have to wonder why Christianity doesn't work. What we need to do is turn to Jesus instead of ourselves. And some of you are saying, well, I've never been burnt out, Jeff, and I don't really have those problems. I'm going to tell you, you're probably not that far from those individuals who are. I've, in my life, dealt with burnout. I've dealt with feeling hurried and rushed. I've dealt with all of this. And the reality is this, is that when I do things in myself, when I go at a pace that I think will achieve the goals that I want in life, it never works out in the end. Instead, I need to put my trust in Jesus. Let me put it this way. I'll share with you a story. So many years ago, eons ago, I guess you could say, as the football players always say to me, oh, back during the dinosaur days. But anyway, several years ago, when I was a assistant wrestling coach at the middle school, before I even got to the high school as a wrestling coach, we had a 65-pounder. Anyway, this young man, we're in the weight room together at the middle school, and he says to me, hey, coach, I bet you can't go as fast as I can on the elliptical machine. And anyone who knows me knows that when someone tells me I can't do something, then the first thought in my mind is, oh, I'm going to prove you wrong. I have a little bit of Marty McFly in me. You know, like when people would call him chicken, he had to prove them wrong. Whenever someone tells me I can't do something, then I have to prove them wrong. So we both jumped on the elliptical machines. There was two of them there. And he started off with a really good pace and started getting faster and faster. I'm like, well, I can do this. I can keep up with them. And I get it up to 10, to 12, to 15. I get it up to as much as 18 miles an hour. And I'm thinking, hey, I'm doing okay with this. And then all of a sudden, my leg that has cerebral palsy is saying, Jeff, your leg can't keep up with this anymore. And I realized it was time for me to stop. I had to stop. And so I tried to slow down, but because of my bad leg not being able to be controlled at that kind of speed, it flew off the elliptical machine and actually got caught between the pedals of the elliptical machine. And I crushed my foot. That was a painful lesson that, yeah, I probably can go 18 miles an hour. I probably can go as fast as you can go, but it's not going to necessarily end well for me. And see, we tend to do that in our lives. We think, hey, I've got this, God. I appreciate that you have died for me. I appreciate that you are in my life. I appreciate that you give me good things, but I'm going to put you on the sideline and I'm going to do these things at my pace. I'm going to do these things my way. And we start off down the path of my way. And, you know, we think at first, hey, this isn't so bad. And we keep going and we keep going. And all of a sudden we realize the pace is getting faster and faster. And we're feeling more and more hurried. We're feeling more and more tired. We're feeling more and more restless. And we finally get to a point where we either burn out or we're completely stressed to the point of breaking, and then we wonder where God is. God was always there. The reason you're stressed is not because God is not present. The reason you're stressed is because you have chose to do things your way. Now, I'm not preaching at you. I'm going to tell you that I am probably the worst at this in my life. I have a tendency to always go down a path where I am seeking what I think God wants for my life instead of truly resting at his feet, without truly walking in his presence. This is what Jesus said. We talked about it last week in Matthew chapter 11, verses 28 through 30. He said, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take up my yoke and learn from me. Hear that. And learn from me, because I am lowly and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. But the thing I want you to hear in there is Jesus says, come and put on my yoke and learn from me. Jesus is saying, come and walk with me and learn from me. See, one of the things, and we're going to talk about this in more detail on Sunday morning, but one of the things that you learn when you start to read in the scriptures is that Jesus never once was hurried. Jesus never once ran. Jesus never once stressed out about the detail. Instead, he would find rest in all that he did, and he would always keep his focus on God the Father in heaven. And so we should have times of rest, and we should always keep our focus on Jesus Christ the Son and God the Father in all that we do. God did not call us to live a hurried life. He called us to be his disciples. He called us to walk with him. He called us to learn from his example and live out that example. Again, Jesus in all of his life never was hurried. Yet he only ministered for 3.5 years. In 3.5 years, he changed the whole world. Hear that. In 3.5 years, one man, Jesus Christ, who was never hurried or stressed, changed the whole world. Now you would think that in 3.5 years, I know what I would be thinking. If I have 3.5 years to get something done, I'm going to be stressed about it. I'm going to be hurrying to get it done. I want to make sure that almost always I try to cross the finish line before the time is actually intended to be. But Jesus always had purpose. Jesus always had understanding of the right time because he always kept his focus on God the Father. This Sunday, we're going to look at the example of Jesus Christ. What does the scriptures tell us about Jesus that we can learn in our lives not to be hurried? We can look and see that Jesus never was rushed. But again, in 3.5 years, he changed the world. I hope that you can come and join us this Sunday because there's 3 very practical things I want to give you to help you to move forward in your life, to get off the path of stress and being burnt out, the path of pain and suffering in the hurriedness of our own lives, and get on the path of rest and walk in the presence of Jesus Christ. So please come and join us this Sunday at the Way Community Church. We meet every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. in our house, and you are invited and you are encouraged to come. But I want to leave you with a couple things before I close today. One is this: we always pray for more time. It is not more time that we need, it's better priorities. When we focus on the things that matter most, we will always have the time we need to complete the goals and the tasks that we have. Hear that again. If we always keep our focus on what matters most, we will always be able to complete the goals and tasks that God has in hand for our lives. So my prayer and my hope for you is that you will learn to focus on what matters most and not what you want, not what you think will bring you joy, not what you think will bring you happiness. So my challenge to you this week. So I want you to pray this prayer for the next 7 days. God, help me to walk slow enough to experience Jesus fully and love people deeply. I encourage you to do that. Take the challenge. Pray that prayer every day. Lord, help me to walk slowly so I can learn to experience Jesus fully and love people deeply. And I know that prayer will begin to bring changes to your life in a positive way. Hey, if you're watching this video on Facebook or YouTube, I encourage you to like the video. I also encourage you to subscribe. Also, I would encourage you to share this video with others. The more people who like our videos, the more that video gets shared with other people. So please like and subscribe to our channel so that you can see the videos we put out each and every week.